Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this live stream that has been long waited by all of you who submitted your renders, and a lot of viewers who are interested in knowing more on how they can improve their rendering through the tips that I'm going to try and give you through this live stream. So I've had a couple of people send me over their renders, their work, and today we're just going to go through a lot of them. Obviously we cannot do every single one of them, but it's very important for us to point out and get feedback for our renders. I usually ask feedback for my renders as well, which is crucial to actually becoming better in your workflow. Now, something that I definitely want to mention is that in the live chat here, you can find the link for, also in the description, you can find the link for the Enscape Expert course, which will be in 70% discount only in the next 24 hours. And this is very important because right now, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, you know that I rebranded the channel now, because previously it used to be called Scale, which was the brand that I built with 3D rendering and all of that. And now I rebranded the whole website and the YouTube channel as my personal brand, and created another website obviously for my personal brand. But Scale now is going to operate as a service-based business and not very educational, and YouTube is going to be more educational based. So to not waste any more time, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go straight into the renders that have been sent in my email, and I'm going to open the first one, which is from Aaron Durston, and I'm just going to quickly sort out all of the files that I have here. So I'm going to go in the download section for just a second and open this one, if I'm not mistaken. So let me just check. Okay. I'll switch the stream to screen and camera. So if you can hear me well, or if something's not going correct in the stream, just let me know. Right now I'm opening the first render that I was sent, that obviously I received. And as you can see, this render was sent by Aaron, who's a watcher of the channel. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to quickly do some markups. So this is an exterior render, which has kind of a good mood, and I believe has some post-production added into it. I think some materials, Melos, I'm close to finishing the course. That's great to know. Can you just kind of give a brief explanation on how the course is going? I'd really appreciate it, and maybe the viewers can get some information regarding the course as well. Obviously not any spoilers, but just about the experience of how the course is going. Okay, so anyway, I can see that there's some post-production here. The first thing that stands out for me is the grass color is way too dark and looks very unnatural. Now, obviously with the way that the grass is set up in Enscape is not very realistic, but what I suggest is to at least change the colors of it. And also, if you have, let me just open one of the videos right here. So I explained in one of my videos on how to improve the grass material, which is a tip that definitely makes your grass better. Obviously it doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but it's still much better than the normal grass. And I'm just going to go ahead, and I believe it's this first one. So let me just start this. And as you can see, I went into the forum, and you can find this image right here, which makes your grass better. And then you have to change it in a couple of files that are like resource files from Enscape. And then right here, you can kind of see the difference between the default Enscape grass, as we have in the example that I received. And then you can see how it changed with the image that you can replace it with. So right here, I definitely applied that into your rendering. Now it does look, the image looks very gloomy, kind of has like a brown faint into it, which the grass has as well. So maybe try to do the colors a little bit brighter. And then the materials of the house look all right. So basically what I'm checking here is the bricks, which look quite good. The metal looks all right, maybe a little bit more reflections, but this underneath surface, I'm not sure what material it is. This is more reflective than the metal itself, so definitely check the roughness part of the metals. And then this part looks quite well done. It seems like it is seamless, it doesn't replicate itself and all of that. And then something that I'm kind of pointing out here is there is no surface underneath the garage area, which is kind of, we can tell it's not done the best. And then something else that I can notice as well is the sky. I definitely changed the HDRI on this render, and that's just because the lighting doesn't look that well done. It's almost like a brownish, like bronze look. It has like a bronze feeling to the actual render. So these are just a couple things that I can point out. Obviously, there's a lot of detailing that needs to be done here. The landscape looks alright. Maybe adding a depth of field into the house, so that way the viewers are more focused here and this part doesn't grab too much attention, would be good as well. But that is definitely a detail that the render can look good even without that change. So yeah. And then let me just open the folder once again. Now we're going to move on to some other renders. We have some more renders from Anna from Slovakia. So I'm going to open it right now. And as you can see, this is a kitchen. It's an interior render that I believe looks just absolutely wonderful. There's definitely not much that I can point out in this render. Obviously, I believe that these parts are a bit too glossy in the furnace, but that's obviously a small detail, nothing like too specific. The wood here looks very glossy as well, maybe a little more roughness and less reflections on the wood. I would make it a little bit more realistic. The curtains look well, maybe having some background in the windows outside would make it a little bit better. And then yeah, these tiles do have a little bit of like a depth to them, so that is good. And then this wood material seems a little bit too reflective, but it looks alright. And then other than that, not much else that I would change honestly in this render. It looks very well done. The wall material looks very well done. Everything's just like, it's probably a 9 out of 10 as far as Enscape goes, in my opinion. So for example, something else is that this marble material is less reflective than this wood material, which obviously that can happen as well, but I just believe that the marble material should be more reflective in this instance, which is okay. And then this render, as you can see, it has a depth of field to it, which works very fine and very good for this render. I like the marble, I mean the material that is here in the island. And then once again, the furnace material has a lot of reflections into it, which I would tone down. And then other than that, looks pretty good. So if we just zoom into these details, it looks very well done. What seems to be a little bit off is that this material right here is not seamless. So if we zoom here, you can see that there's a division between these two tiles that do not match up with each other. And that definitely is a detail, but it's something that you can notice pretty easily here. And then other than that, this looks alright. It's not very detailed as far as modeling goes, but it's good. Honestly, I'm just being too picky with this render because it's a great looking render. It's just something that I can point out. The other render here looks just as good as the others. I'm not going to go through everything that we said earlier. It basically has the same kind of elements to it. The composition is a little bit different, but that is perfectly fine. And then there's a zoom in of the water tap, I mean the sink. And then you can see that this part is not reflective enough, it's too matte. So I believe this part can kind of have the same material as the water tap, but even with that, it looks still fine. Honestly, very, very good renders. Definitely some of the best work that I've seen with Enscape with some of my viewers. I wonder if Anna has actually joined the Enscape Expert program and if that helped her any bit. So if Anna is watching this live stream, please just let us know in the chat. So let's just move on from here. And then we also received this kitchen render. So a very different rendering from the last kitchen. A few things that we can notice immediately is the composition. So this composition is a little bit off, basically what I would do is I would try to put it parallel to this wall right here. That way it has like a better perspective onto the kitchen. The other thing that we can notice is that there is almost no, there's hardly any division between the cabinets, and the cabinet color is way too red. Like it has a red tint to it, right? And then I'm not sure why the underneath part is white. Maybe that's a design choice. The fridge is just way out of proportions. I don't believe that this is the correct proportion of this fridge. It's either scaled up or something similar to that. And then I'm not sure why there's some space between the cabinet and the fridge here. These tiles definitely don't go well. I'm not sure if your renders actually, if you had any choice as far as design goes, or it was given from the designer, the architect, or whatever. But these tiles don't blend well with the rest of the rendering. And then there's basically, I don't believe there's a plaster material applied to the walls. It's just plain. And the sun is quite strong, which can actually work if the rest of the elements work together fine as well. So yeah, it's all good as that goes. And then this light seems out of proportion as well. Quite a bit of issues with this render, not only as far as materials and lighting, but some of issues have to do with a lot of modeling as well. So yeah, not much else to say for this render. So now we're gonna move on to David. So another kitchen today. So we have like 3 kitchens in a row to review in this live stream. Okay, so this is pretty different from the previous ones. So what this render is lacking, I believe, is depth, and it's basically way too white. There's not much contrast, and just there's not realistic colors or a realistic feel to the materials here, as well as the lighting. The other thing that I can notice is that the outlines are turned on, the outline option in Enscape. It almost looks like a collage and not a realistic render, so it almost looks like he didn't go for a realistic look here. But that's completely fine, because I believe that the modeling was done quite well, but the materials and lighting and the visual settings are lacking a little bit of detail. So okay, so we can get started right away. I'm just going to go with the markups, and I'll just make the window bigger. So first of all, I definitely find the higher resolution HDRI, because this background here, definitely you can tell that it's not real. You can even try to place real trees. As you can see, the outside doesn't look very real here either. But this is one of the smaller issues that this render has. Obviously the outlines, I will turn that off completely. Not very useful if you're going for a realistic look. It's more for collages or isometric views and stuff like that. Something else that I do, definitely I would make the saturation a lot higher, because I definitely feel like the image is desaturated. So we can just try that here real quick, which won't make a huge difference, but it's still, you can tell that the image would look much better if it had more saturation into it. So with just one simple color correction tool, the image comes to life much more, and I definitely suggest all of you to do some saturation and warmth and tint and all that tweaking in your renders. As far as materials go, I definitely believe that these parts need some depth. They're just too flat. The floor needs some reflections. This fabric needs a lot more detailing, like bump maps, normal maps, and all that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it regarding this render. Obviously there's some more details that we can take a look on, but these are kind of the main issues that I'm seeing as of now. Okay, so let's just move on real quick with the rest. So this is another render that I received in the email. So this looks like a living room, which is quite well done actually. So let me just open up the markup tool once again. And let's just make it as large as possible, which Windows doesn't let us do that. Anyway, so this image is kind of missing what I believe some of the same things that the last render was missing. Obviously this is done, I believe, much better in terms of composition, in terms of setting up the materials, the choice of the models, like the 3D models. Obviously the floor has the right, I mean, it's a little bit too reflective. I would tone that down like 5 or 10%, but other than that, it's pretty much set up correctly, except for the color correction, I believe. So if you make it a little bit more saturated, or maybe not the materials but just the lighting outside, which I believe you used artificial lighting, maybe fake lighting, maybe try to make it a little bit warmer, because as of now it does look a little bit cold. And then something else that I would do is I would add more details into these wall panels in the back here, and I would make them a little bit more reflective and tone down the roughness. What I really like though is this lamp here. So this looks very realistic and done very good. The choice of the wall art is pretty good as well. This bonsai tree, I don't think is the best 3D model that you can find in SketchUp. You can definitely find better than that. And then these tables look all right. The composition is good. Just as I said, I would make the lighting a little bit darker. I mean, a little bit warmer than it already looks right now. So yeah. This is pretty much it for this render. Very good job, so just keep going. I really like this one. And then we have another one from Laura. So this is an exterior render finally. So let me just open this up a little bit. This is a pretty good render. I mean, I like the design. It seems a little bit more traditional, which is always refreshing and good to see. So first thing that I would say about this render is that the composition is a little bit off. So what I would do is I would try to place the camera parallel to the wall right here. So let me just quickly grab the markup tool that we have. So I'll try to place the camera parallel to this wall, and then that way the image has better perspective and a little bit more depth. And then something else that I definitely recommend is to tone down the sun brightness a little bit and just try to use better vegetation than these ones. These look a little bit too fake in my opinion. And then the walls, I don't think they have a plaster material applied to them. So let me just zoom in real quick. Actually, I think they do, but I just think it needs more depth and a little bit more detail. And then this wall, I'm not sure what material this is. It just looks way too plain. But what I like is the stone material. It looks set up very well here as well. Also, the tiles here have a little bit of greenery between them, which adds some really good details. The stairs material has too much reflection in my opinion and could have done much better. And also maybe try some different variations with the lighting, which I believe would make up the render a little bit better. Maybe try an HDRI, because I'm not sure if you're using an HDRI here, but it seems like the default Enscape sky. I'm not sure. And then for the roof tiles, they look all right. I'm not sure if you're using a displacement map, because it seems like you're using a displacement map and not real modeling, even though here it looks much more real than it does look in this side. So maybe add some some reflection. Can I send some render now? Yes, you can send your renders in this email. So let me just type it in. So just send your render at that email, and then I'll make sure I can check it in just a minute. Obviously after I finish reviewing all of the other renders. And this was sent in from Shifaz from Dubai. So this is a bedroom. It's an interior render. And obviously there's a few things that I can notice here. There's some issues with the composition, with the lighting, with the materials, some of the 3D models as well. So we're just going to point that out real quick. So let me just find the markup tool and we're going to go straight into it. So first thing, just as I said as before, I would like the composition much better if it is parallel to the wall right here. Second thing is the curtain materials look very fake. So what you can do to make the curtain material much more realistic is you can definitely go ahead and place a transparency map in between them. So what I'm going to show right here is a shorts that I posted in the channel that shows you step by step on how to create a curtain material. So it's this one, and I turned the sound off. So as you can see, you select the curtain material, and then at the cutout transparency section, what you're going to do is you're going to select cutout, and then after you select the cutout, you can just find a different map that kind of has spots into it. So As you can see right now, I'm playing with the transparency, and if I pause it right here, this is obviously the wrong way to do the curtains. It has the same look as this render has. So remember how this curtain looks here. You can find and you can see that the same look is shown into the video that I did here. So in order to improve that, we just went into Google and we typed in something like mesh or something like that. We first chose cutout, and then we imported the map. And then as you can see, now it looks much more realistic than it previously did. So you can do the same thing with your curtains here, and that will definitely improve the output. So something else that I can notice as well is that these chairs right here, the armchairs, are not very well modeled. So there's some sharp angles here which are not very natural for furniture models. So yeah. And then something else is the tiles, the floor tiles, the marble floor tiles have a lot of reflection, so I would definitely tone that down. And yeah, something else as well that I just noticed is that the sun is way too strong. Obviously that's first thing, but if the sun is way too strong, it's no way that this lighting over here would have the same intensity as the sun. So definitely try to balance the artificial light with the natural light in this render. Let me just take this off completely. And then we have one other render before we receive the renders from the viewers. I'm just going to open this one, and this is definitely an interesting one. I like this one a lot, especially the color use. Maybe the orange is just a little bit too strong, but it looks very good and very balanced as far as the other color tones go. So first thing that we can notice is the material right here didn't align very correctly with the modeling, as well as in the other part of the chair, and then in all of the parts of the sofa actually. But I like this as a composition and as a lighting use because it kind of has a very soft light, but it's warm at the same time. The shadows are not very strong, so very well done with the lighting. I just pay some more attention into how the material is aligned. The composition is very well done. I'm not sure why you chose to put two different lights. Maybe that wasn't your choice, but other than that, it looks very, very good. Something else that we can definitely notice is that this part of the wall, the wood part, is way too reflective, and maybe that would be very good, and actually would be much better if we just tone that up a little bit in the roughness section. But other than that, it looks very good. The carpet material looks alright. Obviously, Enscape doesn't have the best carpet material output, but it still looks fine, as well as the wall right here. So yeah, I mean, these are some of the renders that I chose for this live stream. I'm trying to do live streams as a weekly thing, so let me just open up the camera only. So I'm just trying to do live streams as a weekly thing, but this live stream is a little bit shorter than the previous weeks. This was more of reviewing renders. If you want me to review your renders for another live stream that we're going to do maybe after 2 or 3 weeks for this topic. Do you even use HDRIs to render internal images? Yes, I use HDRIs to render interior images because a lot of the interior materials reflect a lot of the colors that the HDRI has. So definitely using HDRIs for interior images is something that is not very natural for a lot of people, but it actually is a big help. So I would definitely suggest all of you to do that. Next week, we're going to have a full-on, like a full workflow, just like last week. And we can definitely go through, I'm not sure if we're going to do like an exterior image or an interior image, but whatever fits the flow better, we're just going to choose that and go with it. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of what we have offering in the next week. I'm going to upload a lot more video tutorials. I already have started 2 or 3 of them, and I've had some really good feedback on the Enscape Expert program that we just did like a short discount, like a 70% discount just for the rebrand that I did. So definitely make sure to check that out. I'm leaving the link in the chat. And yeah, this is pretty much it for the live stream. Thank you everyone for joining in. Let me know if you enjoyed, and let me know what was the best part. Did you learn anything new from it and how it went? So thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next week with a live stream. Keep watching the videos, turn on the notifications, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next time.